Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Fresh, Natural, and Live. I hope your Monday's been going well, and I also hope you had a wonderful weekend. As usual, we have a great show for you tonight. We have our very own Isosa Adosulum presenting, and she's going to be sharing with us insights into essential oils. Many of my patients often ask me about the benefits of essential oils. We've actually had individuals who profess to be expert in essential oils. I am not an expert in essential oils, but I understand and hear that there are many wonderful benefits. I do have some personal experience. I have a steam shower, and I've used essential oils in my steam shower. And I do know that it makes me feel great. So I'm going to sit back with the rest of us and get some insight on essential oils and how they can benefit us. Many of you know Isosa, but those of you who haven't been with us for very long, I'm going to reintroduce her to you. Isosa, also known as Raw Girl, is a dynamic certified nutrition specialist, behavior coach, and published author with 10 years of experience inspiring others to live their best, healthiest lives, whose personal health crisis and battle with acne and chronic fatigue led her to change her lifestyle and begin avid studies on holistic health. In 2018, Isosa received a Master of Science in Nutrition and Integrative Health Specialist after 10 years of informal study, writing, and coaching. Following the inner yearning to share her vegan lifestyle of 20 years, many of that time being a raw vegan, in 2009, Isosa created Raw Girl in a Toxic World, which was a health blog where her writing about the range of holistic health topics has been published online and reached hundreds of thousands of readers worldwide. She's the author of The Acne-Free Diet and Got Veg, How to Thrive on a Plant-Based Diet. Isosa also created her signature online program, Staying Ageless 30 Plus, which has a comprehensive curriculum designed to help women 30 plus achieve optimal health and stay youthful using diet and lifestyle changes. Outside of her passion for health, Isosa is an award-winning globe-trotting producer and actress who has been featured in Glamour, Elle, Ebony, Black Enterprise, and more. She is well-versed in all aspects of wellness and nutrition and has created diet plans and interventions for hundreds of obesity patients and clients with a wide range of chronic diseases and cultural backgrounds. Isosa specializes in plant-based nutrition and transitioning weight loss, health, acne, healing acne and skin conditions, eating for beauty, parasite cleansing, and detoxification. And tonight she will be sharing her insights into the essence and benefits of essential oils. So we're going to have a two-part series. We're going to talk about the essence of what are essential oils, why it is plant-produced essential oils, and we're going to go through the basic aspects of essential oils, ranging from aromatherapy and how it works with the body and the brain. And in part two, we're going to get to some practical applications of essential oils, how to use them, common carrier oils, how to use a diffuser, and various other things, including safety and the like. So I'm excited to get this show on the road. I'll bring other panelists here. We have Celeste, our resident pediatrician. Hello, Celeste. How are you doing this evening?
Oh, I'm good. I'm well.
How are the kiddos? Were you in clinic today?
Yes.
So,
moving along.
And also with us is Pam. Hello, Pam. How are you doing? Dr. Brewer Atkins is here with us, and is also a part of a panel. She's a panelist. She's a functional medicine physician here in the Houston area, and we work together and collaborate with lots of patients. And without further ado, our speaker of the evening is Isosa. How are you today?
Hi, I'm well. Hi, everybody.
Busy as usual. So this essential oils, I have a steam shower, and I buy these oils and put them in the steam shower. And I haven't done it in a while, so I'm hoping what I'll learn from you tonight is going to be very encouraging and insightful for me to get back on the bandwagon of using these oils. So I look forward to hearing what you have to say, and so does the audience. So anyway, let me bring up your slides. I think you have some information on presentation. A picture's worth 1,000 words, and I love having a presentation along the way. So why don't you take over the realms and what are essential oils?
Okay. Well, first, I will say that I kind of fell into essential oils. Like the way that I came across them was while I was in business school at Columbia. I was managing a really interesting new age bookstore with a vegetarian cafe, and all kinds of books on health and spirituality. And they had like a crystal section, they had an essential oil section. And that was the first time I actually really got into essential oils. And I was experimenting with them. Like I would have a cramp and I would use an oil and the cramp would go away, or I would be feeling tired and I would use the oil and feel more alert. So that was just piqued my interest. And so it was fun to explore it for this presentation. And I definitely welcome any other insights from some of our other panelists who may also know more about it. So essential oils, what are they? They are concentrated, potent botanical extract from all parts of the plant. So when I say all parts, we're talking about the stems, the barks, the flowers. You can find them in leaves, you can find them in grasses, you can find them in resin, in the seeds, you can find them in the fruit of plants, even the peels, like citrus fruits. You get the essential oil from the actual peels of citrus fruits. And these are extracted through steam or water distillation, solvent extraction, or expression, and they have medicinal properties. I found it really interesting because I didn't really know too much about the process of actually extracting it. So I went into it a little bit. So the steam or water distillation, steam is basically directed at the plant. The steam vaporizes the light chemicals in the plant, and then the steam is cooled. And when the steam is cooled, it creates two products. It creates the essential oil, and it creates what they call a hydrolat or a hydrosol. And the interesting part is that both of these things are actually usable. And so the essential oil is the one that you may know more of, or you may have not heard the term hydrolat or hydrosol, but I think we all have heard of things like lavender water, rose water, witch hazel. Those are actually hydrolats. And the essential oil is the oil-soluble parts of the plant, or parts of that after distillation. When it's separated into the oil-soluble molecules and the water-soluble. And the hydrolat is the water-soluble. So they're actually both usable. And hydrolats are actually considered to be a little bit more gentler. Some say they could be used for babies or elderly, but you really do need to pay attention to whether or not it's 100% pure or whether or not there's microbes in them. So I do think that you should still take precautions as far as the source of your hydrolat if you're going to use a hydrolat. Then there's solvent extraction, and the solvent extraction, literally the plant is put into a bath of solvents, it dissolves, and then they use alcohol to separate out the essential oils. And then the last one was expression, and expression is actually the grating or scraping the peel of a citrus fruit to release the oil. So if you had a lemon peel or an orange peel, that's where we're going to get those oils from. And all essential oils consist of tiny aromatic molecules that are released from the plant when you rub them or they're exposed to heat. And the qualifier essential actually refers to the fact that the oil contains the essence of the plant. That's where essential comes from. And these are the natural chemicals that provide a distinct odor or flavor of that specific plant. All right, so the other thing that essential oils are actually secondary metabolites. I had to take it all the way back to like 7th grade and re-up on my photosynthesis knowledges. But if you know about photosynthesis, you know that plants need light, carbon dioxide, and water, and they produce oxygen and sugar from that process. And basically, this is the process of the plants producing glucose, which provides energy for the plant. So primary metabolites are things like carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, nucleic acid. These are actually involved directly in the growth and maintenance of that plant, whereas secondary metabolites are not needed for growth and maintenance, and they tend to be the end products of primary metabolism. And these are things like alkaloids, phenolics or phenols, sterols, steroids, essential oils, and lignans. And so essential oils are in this category, and these are usually produced for defense purposes. So why, the thing that we do have to keep in mind when we talk about essential oils is that Plants also produce them to repel things. That's why we have to be careful, because some of them were used almost like a poison to keep away certain animals from eating them or creating a barrier for other plants. They do prevent viral, bacterial, fungal infections. They can attract pollinators, so they can both attract and repel. And they can prevent dehydration for the plant or control the humidity of the plant. So these are all things related to essential oils being secondary metabolites.
Now, it's also, I know some of the protective aspects of plants, such as some of the colors and things like that protect the plants. Some of these protections can be passed on to humans that consume the plants. Is that the same thing with oils?
That the protection, yes, that's why the oils can be antiviral, antibacterial, all of those things. It's totally.
Okay. Gotcha.
The reason why essential oils are hard to study is because each essential oil is actually comprised of 100 to 200 separate chemical constituents. So it's really hard to pinpoint, wait, which part of this? I mean, they all work synergistically together. And so it's hard to find a bunch of scientific research on it, even though they have been around for a long time. So there's not that much evidence-backed research showing that they necessarily cure any illness, although ancient medicines have used them a lot to deal with a lot of different illnesses. But here are some things that I found. On the screen are some shots of some of the research studies that I was looking at. One of the scientific studies I looked at that revealed positive results from essential oils for patients with dementia. There was evidence that the balm from lemon oil reduces agitation in patients with dementia, and this was in the Journal of Clinical Psychiatry. It was published in 2002. They had 72 people who basically had clinically significant agitation. They were randomly assigned to either aromatherapy with lemon balm or a placebo, which was sunflower oil. And of the 71 patients that completed the trial, they had 60% of the active treatment group and 14% of the placebo-treated group have a reduction in their agitation. So obviously the lemon balm kind of won. There were some other acne. Look, when it comes to acne, bacteria, candida, there actually is a lot of good research out there. So the treatment of acne with tea tree oil is a big one, which is probably why we see it in so many skin products. Also, the treatment of alopecia areata or hair loss with oils like thyme, rosemary, lavender, and cedarwood. The acne one, they had a double-blind clinical trial performed with 60 patients with mild to moderate acne vulgaris. They randomly divided them in two groups. One was treated with tea tree oil, the other with a placebo. They were followed every 15 days for a period of 45 days. And the response was basically that those who were treated with the tea tree oil had reductions in total acne lesions and also in acne severity index. And the tea tree oil gel was 3.55 times better than the placebo for the total lesions. And it was also 5.75 times more effective than the placebo for acne severity. So tea tree oil and acne definitely go hand in hand. There was also some research that I found into the use of essential oils, especially citrus fruits, looking at their antibacterial qualities. So citrus oil, particularly when combined with things like dead sea salts, was shown to inhibit bacterial growth in mice and also act as an anti-inflammatory agent. The citrus oil, bergamot, can also help fight the growth of common causes of food poisoning, things like Listeria, E. coli, and staph. So these are just a few things. Unfortunately, there's not a ton of research, again, because it's pretty hard to research something that has so many chemical constituents in it.
So real quick, how do you, I know that these essential oils that you're referring to right now for aromatherapy and for external use, but what do you think about internal? I mean, some of them are made for internal ingestion. What do you think do you think it's ever necessary to do that?
Yeah, I was going to talk about this later when we get into use. I am not a huge, so when I was experimenting, I did sometimes, put a little drop of peppermint in a tea, or whatever and just kind of play around with it. But I really do think that you should be careful with that. That you do want to use a food grade one if you're gonna ingest it. But the thing is that people don't usually know when too much is too much. And I think my precaution with internal use is that a lot of people may not have the right limit and they can end up hurting themselves or end up in the hospital from side effects. Okay, so we talked a little bit about this.
I'm sorry, the studies you used, were they external use? The studies you referenced, were they external use?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So we talked a little bit about the secondary metabolites, and some of those secondary metabolites are actually used in modern medicine. So the steroids, bitters, alkaloids, they're used in medicines by the pharma industry. The Journal of Pharmaceutical Technology and Research said, this was a while ago, but they said that 11% of 252 drugs considered as basic and essential by the World Health Organization were exclusively of flowering plant origin. And so a lot of our medicines are from these compounds, even if they're not in that natural form anymore. And then the other thing that they're used for is they're also used as chemical models or templates. So even if they don't use a plant to make the medicine, they're also trying to replicate the structure of a plant or something to create a substance to treat disease. So these are used in those secondary metabolites are used in a variety of ways. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about aromatherapy. So aromatherapy is a part of herbalism that uses essential oils from plants for physical and emotional healing. It's been used for thousands and thousands of years, going all the way back to ancient Egypt, traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurveda. The Egyptians are actually credited with developing one of the first distillation machines to extract oils from plants. And they actually use things like cedarwood, cloves, cinnamon, and they use it to embalm the dead. So they use it to preserve people's bodies after life. And then the practice of using aromatic oils as a mood enhancer is usually thought to have happened more so in Chinese medicine. That's when people started to smell the oils in order to have an emotional response. In Chinese medicine, they say that the brain or the brain is thought of as a sea of Jing, and Jing literally just means essence. And so that the essential oil, they think of it as the concentration of the DNA or the essence of the plant, and that resonates with the Jing in our own brain and can have effects on our emotions, can have effect on our healing, etc. So this is how it started to be used more so, not just for external use, but also literally to affect people's emotions. As far as Ayurveda, it's always been an integral part of Ayurveda. That it's been used for over 5,000 years in Ayurveda. There's many recipes in ancient Indian texts for different preparations and applications of aromatic oils. They use them to treat diseases. They use them to make cosmetic products. They use it for beauty procedures, mood improvement. According to the Vedic holistic treatment system, the aromas we breathe have a significant effect on our body, emotions, and mind and help balance our doshas, which I've talked about before, but the doshas are basically like our individual constitution that's unique to every single person. So they did things like massages, using essential oils, acupressure, inhalations, food additives to improve the taste and refinement of food, air fresheners, using it in the room or cleansing the home, those kinds of things. Now, in the Western world, aromatherapy, or the term aromatherapy, was kind of born in France somewhere between 1910 and 1930s. It seems like no one has a consensus on the date because there were so many different dates. But basically, this French chemist named René Maurice Guadaface, he's from a long line of perfumers. He had a laboratory. This is the story that they say. They said he had a laboratory explosion. He injured his hand. His hand started to become gangrenous, and he put it in a bowl of lavender essential oil, and it healed entirely. So he spent the rest of his life promoting the healing benefits of essential oils. He wrote this book here, which was considered the first book on aromatherapy. And shortly after him, another French surgeon named Jean Volnay, he used essential oils to actually help heal soldiers' wounds in World War II. So that's sort of like where it started to meet the Western world. I want to talk a little bit about bioavailability and how it works. So essential oils can definitely reach the blood pretty quickly. Sometimes it takes only up to 20 minutes after applied externally. Orally, about 95% becomes available. It's going to go through small intestine, liver, kidneys. Dermally or on our skin, the oil, only about 10% really gets into the bloodstream. So it goes through the skin, the subcutaneous tissue, the blood, the liver, and the kidneys. And then when we inhale it, about 30 to 70%, I know that's a very big, but I guess it depends on the oil, maybe, and even the person, I don't know, goes through the lungs, the blood, the liver, the kidneys, and then some portion of that inhaled actually goes from the nose straight into the brain. And then the oils are also they're also excreted. So maybe 60 to 95% of absorbed essential oils are excreted via urine, another up to 10% in feces, and maybe up to 20% via exhaled air. All right, so just really quickly, how aromatherapy starts to affect our brain and our emotions. I think the biggest thing to know is that our sense of smell is the only it's the only sense that goes straight to our brain. We have 10 to 20 million receptor cells for smell, and so when we smell something, the odor originates in the nasal cavity, is transported via the brain, via the olfactory nerve or the olfactory pathway. It goes through the olfactory neurons, the olfactory bulb, the olfactory tracts, and then hits the olfactory cortex in the brain. And this olfactory nerve actually connects to the temporal lobe. And that's really important because the temporal lobe contains the hippocampus and the amygdala, which are really important for so many things, but our fight and flight experience. The hippocampus plays a role in the memory of our past experiences. The amygdala is known as the emotional center of the brain. So this is how we then connect smell and having emotions. They are connected. Inhaling is actually a faster way to get to the brain than digesting. So it goes pretty fast. And then the next thing we need to think about when we're thinking about how smell affects the brain and the emotions is the limbic system. And the limbic system there's a whole bunch of debate because no one has a definitive consensus on the exact structures that are part of the limbic system. But basically, most people agree that the most important structures considered the limbic system are the hypothalamus, the amygdala, the thalamus, and the hippocampus. And they all sit above, they sit on top of the brainstem. And the reason why this is important is because these structures directly affect our heart rate, our breathing, our blood pressure, hormone balance, memory, emotion, stress levels. The hippocampus is responsible for converting short-term memory to long-term memory. The hypothalamus controls our hunger, our body temperature, thirst, fatigue, sleep, circadian cycles, all kinds of stuff, growth hormones, sex hormones, etc. The hypothalamus, regulates the autonomic nervous system, so our fight or flight or rest or digest, and that's also controlled through the release of hormones. And then we have the amygdalas that are at the bottom there, and the amygdalas are two almond-shaped masses of neurons on either side of the thalamus. When they're stimulated in studies, we know that the animals respond with aggression, and if they are removed, the animals become indifferent to stimuli that would have caused fear and all that stuff. So again, the fear center, the emotional center of the brain. And it's just important to remember that the sense of smell is the only one of our senses that's actually connected to the brain, and that our emotional memories are directly related to the limbic system. And this is where it gets kind of woo-woo-y sometimes, because people are like talking about emotional, healing trauma, using essential oils and stuff like that. And it seems woo-woo-y, but then you realize that it is connected to these parts of the brain that are involved with that. So there must be something to it. So that's where the whole concept of emotional wound healing happening through aromatherapy comes to play, and also healing emotional states like anxiety or depression.
Yeah, these are the more fundamental parts of our brain function. So as you alluded to, like things like the autonomic nervous system and things that control are the fundamental workings of the body, and even emotional things. So you have aspects of our body, like, the cerebral cortex is an aspect where, cognitively I can learn things, that I can consciously make decisions, as opposed to these things at the core part of the brain are to some extent analogous or close to our subconscious things, our autonomic nervous system, our mood and things like that, that sort of happens without our active processing at the cerebral cortex level. So it sounds like these oils are acting at a very fundamental part of the brain. If we look at, monkeys and things like that, they have similar core areas. And so you think other animals could be affected by these oils as well to a certain extent, because again, these fundamental areas of the brain are affected. Interesting.
Yeah, no, that's a really, really great summary. Yeah. And the access to the subconscious mind is super important for so many things, but especially for releasing trauma, trying to create a new habit, a new program. So I find it interesting for that reason as well.
So before we go into, and I think and I'm looking at your overall outline. I don't know if you're at the end of how it works on the emotions and brain, but
yeah,
I want to get kind of summarized for the audience. So it seems like, or let me ask you this way: the applications that you looked at in the studies and other things you've looked at, is it more common to apply these things in an aromatic function or topical? Now you mentioned oral there's some tricky parts of oral, but it seems like from what your presentation is showing that these are most commonly, most effectively used in an aromatic way. Is that true, or?
No, I mean,
topical can help as well.
Topical can help as well. Like I can go through the millions of ways that I use them. When we get to the next part, I'll go through the millions of ways that I use them. But yeah, like it's just, that's the coolest part about plants. We can use them in so many different ways. Just how we're trying to get people to eat their plants and eat all parts of the plant with the fiber. It's like you don't have to just use it in this one specific way. It's like not just topical. The aromatherapy aspect, I feel like, has almost been around even longer than maybe using it topically, even though the ancient Egyptians, like I was saying, they use it literally to preserve the dead.
Wow. It's, and Karen Evans says she used it almost daily. Nicole, her question is going to lead us in part 2. I'll throw it up here, but she's going to be curious to hear what you have to say about what brands to buy and which to avoid, and some very expensive and some cheap. So, Nicole, we're going to get to this on part 2. So why don't we just go ahead and we'll take a station break, and we'll come with part 2. And we're going to get into some of the practical aspects of it, physical, emotional conditions that can benefit from, and how to use it, and what are the best prices, et cetera. So you guys stay tuned. Okay, we're back. And so I'm really excited to hear this part, because now we get to go into some of the details of, how to use aromatherapy, how to use essential oils in the context of aromatherapy, topical therapy, or the like. So it's also this next part. Now, we did get the question from Nicole. I'm not sure if it's ready for her answer right now, but I just thought I'd throw that up as a reminder. So we're going to get into brands and the like. So keeping that in mind. So where are we right now? So we're physical and emotional.
Yeah. So I just wanted to list some reasons that may not even come to mind immediately when you think essential oils that you could actually use them for. Indigestion, PMS. I was telling the story at the beginning that, that was one of my first introductions. I was managing this bookstore and I had a horrible cramp. And someone was like, go use Dragon Time from Young Living Essential Oils. And I got some of it and I rubbed it on my tummy and my cramp went away. And I was like, what? So that's one that I use for a lot of my women who are struggling with PMS and stuff now. Depression, it's a big one. Again, mood enhancer. So anxiety, depression.
Which oil was that for PMS?
It was actually a blend. There's a blend by Young Living Essential Oils, and Young Living Essential Oils is actually one of the more expensive ones, just so you know. But they have a blend called Dragon Time. And literally, I think it's called Dragon Time because it's actually specifically made for PMS.
Hence the name. Okay.
Hence the name.
We'll go into that.
But it works.
So Young Living what?
Essential oils.
Essential oils. Okay.
Yeah, and that is a very well-known established brand. Young Living. But I'll get into just a couple more options towards the end. So depression and anxiety, again, mood stuff, fatigue, memory loss, or just like on the other side, I have brain fog. There are things that you can literally smell in the morning that will wake you up. Like if you smell a peppermint in the morning, you will wake up. Insomnia, low immunity, menopause, hormonal issues, acne. We talked about some of the things for acne, skin discoloration. I've had people use some of the citrus related essential oils like mixed into things that they put on their skin if they have like acne scarring and stuff, and it will fade it over time. You do have to be careful with those citrus oils, and I'll go into that. Bruises and burns, child, if you are slightly clumsy, as I can be sometimes, you're going to need to get some essential oils, because literally just kind of like the story I told about that French chemist, I have bumped into something, ended up, and if I put an essential oil on it right after it happens, I do not get a bruise ever, which is kind of cool. And then rashes, skin infections, pain, water retention, low libido, viral infections, brain fog, lung congestion. There's a lot of stuff that you can do steams with essential oils and breathe them in. You can make your own inhalers and things like this. Colds and sinus issues, nausea, insect bites. I have a specific thing I do with the insect bites, and I'll tell you guys about that. Stress and fungal overgrowth, which there was actually a lot of studies about candida and essential oils. So it's very helpful if you have fungal overgrowth.
Gotcha. Someone asked about specific carrier oils. Now they want to know about lavender, tea tree, and other oils. I thought I'd just put that out there.
Yeah.
Cover that. But yeah.
Okay. So I want to cover a few ways that you can use them. So if you're going to use them topically, the whole thing is that not to actually put them directly on your skin, because some essential oils can actually burn or damage your skin, and some people are more sensitive to others, to different types. So you are going to use a carrier oil. Here's a list of some carrier oils that I've used or know people use: jojoba oil, almond oil, coconut oil, olive oil, neem oil, apricot, castor, grapeseed, sesame, and moringa. I use moringa oil every morning, so I love moringa. The neem oil is so interesting. So my first trip to Africa, I was sure I was going to die because mosquitoes really like me. And so I didn't want to take the medication. And so what I did was I took garlic internally, and then I got neem, and I mixed eucalyptus and lavender oil into my neem oil. And so it would smell great. And that repelled mosquitoes for the entire time I was in Ghana. I never got bit once by a mosquito. So really cool, interesting applications, but you definitely want to get a carrier oil and use that when you're applying it on your skin directly or massaging it, however ways you want to apply it. And you just want to make sure that you're not touching your eyes with it and things like that, because you don't want to irritate your eye or anything like that.
Now, these carrier oils, can they be used, for instance, you give a nice list of carrier oils. Can any of these carrier oils be used for lavender, tea tree? Yeah. In other words, they're interchangeably beneficial, right, as carrier oils?
Yeah, you can use them interchangeably for any oil you want. They're basically just kind of like the container you're putting the essential oil in to make sure that it doesn't hurt your skin. So I use On my body, I've used things like coconut oil, almond oil, neem oil. On my hair, I have a blend of castor oil with other oils mixed into it and essential oils. So you can use them for so many different, all of these oils are wonderful and you can use them in different ways.
So obviously your carrier oil needs to be of high quality, equally high quality as your essential oil, I would imagine. And so Patrice, I hope we answered your question there. Someone asked about fungal overgrowth. Is there anything specific on that?
It's amazing how many oils are actually antifungal. So honestly, I mean, even though the study, there was a lot of things on tea tree and stuff like that. Even if you got some lavender and you had like fungal overgrowth or something, you'll notice that if you apply it on the area, that it will start to go away.
Gotcha. Okay, Donna Zurcher. So lavender oil, you can use a carrier of olive or coconut oil with that, and that should help with any fungus overgrowth.
So we can also use them internally, which Celeste was asking about. But again, if you're going to use them internally, it would be food grade, and I would be really careful with that. I might want to, I don't know, it might be interesting to consult with someone who's more on the herbalist or aromatherapist side to see what they actually think is like, the right amounts. I think the part that's really tricky with internally is that we just don't know when too much is enough is too much. But things like, I remember using internally things like indigestion or issues after eating, like a drop of peppermint oil in a tea and stuff like that. That can be very soothing. But I would just be really careful with doing large amounts, especially if you have no idea what you're doing and you're just experimenting for the first time.
Salsa, do you have any books you recommend? Someone asked, Robert Humber wants to know if there are any books for beginners and on essential oils and aromatherapy.
That's a good one. I have the book that I have that's in front of me right now. It's like a crazy book that probably has too many things in it that you don't want to know about. But it's called Natural Healing, Wisdom, and Know-How, and it has everything in there from essential oils to herb stuff to other things. I have another one. And maybe I can send you, because I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I can also send it to you, Dr. Montgomery, after the title, if you wanted to send it to them.
Okay, that'd be great. Yeah. Cool.
And then we can also use essential oils in diffusers. And I love diffusers. I have one on my desk right now. It's just an easy way to actually use the oils as aromatherapy. And what happens with the diffuser is you put some water in and up to the point where it says, and then you can add a few drops of a blend or just a straight oil and cover it up. It's going to blow nice steam at you so that you can breathe in the essential oil. And this can be really great if you are not feeling well, respiratory issues, sick, or if you just want to change your mood. As we talked about, these oils are very helpful for kind of changing emotional states or just facilitating the process of, moving us out of that fight or flight mode. So if you are not in a funk, put some oils in a diffuser and breathe it in and see how you feel in about 5 to 10 minutes.
How about maintenance therapy on the diffusers? I mean, let's say I'm at work in the office, I'm seeing patients. Should I just smoke up the room and,
Well, they do that a lot. I mean, like my Chinese medicine doctor, every single time I go to her, not only does she have oils in the room, oils are part of the things that I leave with when I leave there with the prescription. I literally get a little thing from her that I'm supposed to sniff and put in certain points of my body, but they use the oil to create an environment. So it's actually a great thing to put in like a waiting room.
I guess that stuff is not a white powdery substance you roll up a dollar bill and sniff, right?
No. Dr. Montgomery, I actually put a diffuser, a small one that I got at the store, in my pod. So, but I only use lavender because some of the essential oils can be kind of strong. Around the corner, they're like, what is that smell?
You're walking out getting it and people are wondering.
But, it does change the energy a little bit in the space.
Yeah. No, it does, for sure.
Now, what about, so Karen talks about castor oil needs to be hexane free. I guess that's maybe a hexane is probably a solvent that's often used to extract it, so you should avoid that.
Yes, I think that's what it is. Why do I feel like Dr. Atkins will know the answer to this question?
Yeah, I do topical. I recommend topical castor oil for pain and inflammation, along with applying a heating pad or infrared heating pad or some type of warming. But yes, I always recommend my patients get hexane-free castor oil because that doesn't have the contaminants in it when you use it in the body. Because tell people, everything you put on your body, a portion of it is up to 40% of it is soaked into your bloodstream. So you want a good product. So usually if you purchase it at a health food store, usually it's hexane free. And I usually transfer it to a glass bottle just to minimize the phthalates because it's hard to find it in a plastic, in something other than plastic. But
what about shelf life? You mentioned glass bottles versus plastic. Jackie McCrae wants to know, do essential oils have shelf life? And if so, what are they and how do we address them?
So one of the things that I discovered while researching, which I actually really didn't know, is that a lot of people say that it's actually better to keep your essential oils in the fridge to keep them cool. I have a bunch of them in the bathroom. So if it's in a cool place, it should be good, but you shouldn't be keeping them for years and years because they do oxidate and it will change the quality. It will change the structure of what's in that bottle. It's not going to be the same. So you want to use them in a timely manner, not necessarily meaning like don't wait 3 years and pop out your oregano oil.
Gotcha. So less than 18 months, you'd say?
I would probably say within like 1 to 2 years. I'd probably say, maybe 1 to 1.5 years ish.
Okay.
Well, I think it depends, as she said, how you store it.
Yeah.
And as you notice, they're usually in dark bottles and because light sensitive. So you don't want to put them in a window or an area with a lot of sunlight or a lot of light because they will last longer if you're not in direct light.
Yes, they last longer when they're not in direct light, and they last longer when they're in. That's why they're usually in amber bottles, but when they're sealed tightly. So you don't want to just have them open like out on your counter for hours on end because that's how it will oxidize faster.
Gotcha. I noticed that's a good point. They are in these amber bottles, so I guess light is an important point. And with oils, even other oils that people use orally, which they tend to recommend that they stay in these dark bottles. So that's a good common factor. Pat wants to know about hot oils other than oregano, and should you diffuse them? So I'm not sure if that's in your next round, but go ahead.
Hot oils? Say it again?
Yeah. Hot. I guess diffuse. Are there some oils that are considered hot versus cold, or are some oils better diffused? And like I use mine in the steam shower. You mentioned a diffuser. Are some oils better for a diffuser versus other oils, or
not necessarily? I think it really depends. I guess I would say I may not use like oregano in a diffuser. I might use oregano topically and to deal with antibacterial things, or even internally, as we know, oregano oil can actually be useful for candida and other things. But I don't know if I would be breathing in oregano.
Gotcha.
So you start to learn it by learning the different types of oils and figuring out what they're kind of for. Another use I wanted to point out was oral care. I use essential oils for oral care every single day. You can take essential oils and this I got from Nadine Artemis, who wrote a book called Holistic Dental Care. You can take essential oils and put a drop on your finger and run it through your floss and then floss your teeth. I do that with peppermint oil. I also have a mouthwash that's primarily essential oil, so you can use that. And they're really great for oral care and can really help with maintaining the microbiome in the mouth and getting rid of bacteria and all that stuff.
Gotcha.
You can also use essential oils in your bath, which I think is pretty popular. The thing about baths is because essential oils are not water soluble, you do need to use a dispersant. So that's why a lot of times essential oils are in things like Epsom salts or bath salts. So you can, if you don't have bath salts that already have them in there, you can make your own, and you can get Epsom salts. You can put some baking soda and add the essential oils. Or else what will happen when you put the oils into the bathtub, you're literally just going to have these droplets of undiluted oil in there. All right, so some other things. This isn't on my slide, but I just wanted to bring it up. I think we've been talking about antibacterial and antiviral protection, and this is really important because obviously we're in the era of COVID right now, and it can be really helpful, even if it has just to have like, you know, a hand lotion or a cream or something that you're using with essential oils, because you're giving yourself antiviral protection in addition to that great smell. So other things, we can make spritzers for air fresheners or cold and flu support. Spritzers are basically just, you can get a bottle, add distilled water, add the oil. You need a certain type of cap that will, like they usually call them atomizer caps, that will spray. You shake it, you basically shake it up, spray it, inhale it. And you can do that to actually air freshen a room, or you can use it if you have issues with respiratory of some sort of respiratory condition or cold or flu. And then you can also make DIY inhalers. There's 1,000,001 tutorials on YouTube and things like this on how to make inhalers using essential oils, or just carry one around and smell it. That's what my Chinese medicine doctor will literally give me, something that I can carry around and smell. You can do steam inhalations. You can use essential oils for household cleaning. I've done that before too. You can use it to repel pests. And then I mentioned my little concoction for mosquitoes. You can also use it as a mosquito repellent. So how to determine quality? There is no regulation of essential oils. There's no like body that checks to make sure that they're all great. So just be aware that if something says therapeutic grade, which is a very common thing to see on an oil, that's not recognized by some sort of body that is actually checking. It's literally the company creating a grading system and saying that it's therapeutic grade. So just so you know that doesn't mean that that's a bad thing. It just means you have to be aware. It helps to learn the Latin names of the common oils that you use, because these essential oils are also, there are spin-offs of these that are synthetic or used by the perfume industry and other things. So they're not going to give you the same benefits that we've been talking about if you're not using the authentic oil. So you just getting to know some of the Latin names of the ones you use, and I'll go into that in the next slide, will really help you figure out if it's a quality oil. And then just find a recommendation from a health practitioner, herbalist, or aromatherapist about what brands they use, so that you can just save time. And I'll give you guys a few brands that I've used. Here are some of the Latin names. So lavandula, I'm so bad with Latin. Okay, angustifolia, that's lavender. Citrus limonum, that's lemon. Boswellia carteri, that's frankincense. Melissa officinalis, that's lemon balm. Eucalyptus globulus, that's eucalyptus. Jasminum officinalis, that's jasmine. And Rosmarinus officinalis, that's rosemary. So just knowing a few of these, and maybe just the first ones that you try, and just make sure that on the bottle it actually has the Latin name. That's very helpful. Some safety things: make sure that children under the age of 6 don't have access to these, unlimited access. So they're not putting in their eye or you know, drinking down an entire bottle or doing anything that could hurt them. Keep it away from your eyes. Don't ingest really large amounts internally unless you're under supervision or you know, actually really feel like you know what you're doing. Avoid in the first trimester when pregnant, although midwives really do actually use essential oils and use them. A lot of people say be careful in the first trimester because, you know, it's the most sensitive trimester. Don't apply undiluted essential oils to mucous membranes or skin. Some of them can burn. And be careful with the citrus oils and phototoxicity. Basically, I've used citrus oils sometimes on my skin, but it's usually in a season where there's not going to be a lot of sun outside, because if you go out in the sun, you can burn if you have a citrus oil on your face. So be very careful with the citrus oils if you're going to use them on your skin. And then last but not least, just figure out where you want to start. There's so many oils to start with. So Peppermint. I mean, I've used peppermint to literally wake up in the morning. I've used it to floss. I've used it for indigestion. There's so many things. Tea tree. There's so many things for tea tree. Skin stuff. Lavender to calm the mood. Also, even with fungal things. Lemon, eucalyptus is a great one for all of the sort of respiratory issues. If you need something to, breathe in and start to feel better if you have a congestion. Rosemary, frankincense. I love frankincense. I actually use frankincense a lot for bruising. if I think I might get a bruise, if I put frankincense on there, I will not get a bruise. Sage, bergamot, oregano, and then there's a bunch of blends. So if you're also like, I don't know, you can also go to specific brands and just find a blend that has a couple different types of things. And a lot of times the blend will say what it does. So there's like a breathe blend or stress and anxiety blend. And so you can try those because it kind of takes the guesswork of mixing them together. And some brands that I've used, so I've used Young Living before, and that's a really well-known brand. A lot of people use doTERRA. doTERRA is the ones in the images that I've had in this presentation. And then Pranarom is actually a new favorite. I stumbled around Pranarom, and it's very affordable. So if you're someone who's like, I just want to check this out, Pranarom is a really great one. I sometimes have my clients get the Pranarom, like they have an SOS kit, which I really like if you're dealing with if you want to deal with COVID and antibacterial and whatever. They also have a starter kit, and I think it's like $30. So it's really good, but then these are organic oils. And I found them through going to a health food store and striking up a conversation about, affordable essential oils. And so that was a new find. So if you're trying to save money, try that one first. You could try the other ones as well. They are a little bit up there in price. I would say that Young Living is the most expensive of the three that I have written here.
Bob Hogan wants to know about the mosquito essential oil ratio. I think you mentioned that earlier. Is there any particular one oil, or is there a ratio of oils, a combination that's good for mosquito bites?
Mosquito bites or mosquito repellent?
Good question. Well, give us both. He didn't specify. So mosquito repellent, I guess. We'll start with prevention.
Mosquito repellent, I didn't have my ratio was, how do I make this neem oil not smell horrible? So that was, so whatever, for me, that was like whatever, because for me, I realized that neem was a way to repel the mosquitoes as well. That's why I use neem as the carrier oil strategically, because I knew that would repel mosquitoes. But then when you add the essential oils, you get even additional mosquito repellent abilities. And neem oil smells horrible if you've never smelled it. And so I would use a full bottle if I needed to of eucalyptus and then lavender until I could not smell it anymore.
Now, Robert wants to know if you can get good oils from Paycheck and a Half, formerly known as Whole Paycheck.
You mean Whole Foods? Or Whole Paycheck and a Half? Is it Paycheck and a Half now that Amazon owns it?
Yeah, that's the new name. It's formerly known as Whole Paycheck.
They have some okay, they have I think it's Oracacia. Oracacia is the name of the brand that I always see at Whole Foods. It's all right. It's all right. I've never really bought any of them, but I know that they have some ones that are decent.
Okay, so that's a good place. And he actually asked where you can get them. I guess online, but you say you have to be careful. So I imagine a quality health store, and that's one that many people know about, would be a good place to get it from. That would be one thing. So I guess as a take-home message as we start to wrap it up, Jackie McCrae wants to know, how do we spell the name? Jackie, let us know is it one of the oils you want a name spelling? There was something she wanted spelling on. How do you spell the name brand? Orakashi? How do you spell Orakashi?
It's AURACACIA. Right, Dr. Atkins?
Yes,
AURA.
that sounds right.
AURACA.
Have you tried that one, Dr. Atkins? Because I've not really.
Yeah, I think the ones at Whole Foods are fine for topically using outside of the body and just use the little oil as a carrier, but I would not necessarily recommend internally. I don't.
Exactly. I feel like if you're going to go to food grade, that's when you want to get the most expensive, best quality kind. And I think Young Living, generally you can ingest a lot of Young Living oils.
Yeah, they actually have a list of the ones, when you buy it and they send you, or you get the book, it tells you which ones can be ingested and which ones should not be with Young Living.
So Karen says our acacia is cheaper at Whole Food store, but Garden of Life is more expensive but better quality. Y'all agree with that?
I don't know Garden of Life, so if she knows.
Yeah, Garden of Life, they make other products that are I've used their Perfect Food and other products that good quality. I don't think I've used their oils. Pam, you know about their oils?
Yeah, I haven't used their oils, but they have good products. That's a good brand. So I wouldn't be, I would say generally their products are very good. Garden of Life.
And the only other thing to just keep in mind, like, I guess I don't know if I mentioned this, but like the actual conditions that the plant is, whatever happens to that plant is what shows up in the quality of that oil. So literally an essential oil from a lavender that's in a certain altitude versus another altitude is going to be slightly different. That's the part that's so hard about regulating these things. Because like if there was less rainfall or more rainfall, that's going to change the quality of that oil. It's hard to like you can't make it exactly the same every time.
I think Jackie McCray wanted to know the name of the bargain kit. I think you had a bargain kit you listed on the
Pranarom, Pranarom, and you could find it on Amazon. You can find it on this shop I think called Rosemary Garden online, and it's really affordable if you want to just get started. They have a starter kit.
Okay, I'm putting that in the chat, Jackie. Okay, and y'all check my spelling of Pranarom. I think I got that right. And then, Panarom. I put an R.
Prana.
Is it Prana?
Yeah.
So I did it correctly. So it's, is that it on the screen? Pranarom?
I can't see it for some reason. Hold on.
See my banner?
Oh.
Yes, that's it.
Is that it?
Pranarom.
Pranom. Is that right?
Prana. Yes. Thank you. Sorry.
No problem. Okay. No problem. And then let's see here. I just want to get all these questions. The doTERRA oils are ingestible too. doTERRA oils. Do y'all agree with that?
I don't know that I would ingest a doTERRA oil.
Okay. Well, I would need now. Robert wants to know about a good bargain kit. Celeste, we lost Celeste.
No, you lost Ososa.
Oh, I'm sorry, we lost Ososa. I'm missing names around here. Robert wants to know about. Hopefully, Ososa will come back. But what's the best diffuser, Pam, to get and where can you get it from? Does Whole Foods have good diffusers? Whole Paycheck?
Yeah. I've never purchased a diffuser there, but usually most of them are online, but I believe Whole Foods has some. Also, there are warmers for essential oil. I usually use it in my office. There's some plug-in warmers that you can put some drops like on a wick or insertable little pad, but you put it on there and it warms it up. I know there used to be like rings you could put on light bulbs on a lamp, and you put a little essential oil in when it warms, and then the smell diffuses. So in my office, I like to use lemongrass. It's very calming as long as people are not sensitive to it. Lavender, you want to promote for a calm, a calm environment. So I would say I don't have there are many diffusers available. Sosa, do you have a place? He was asking, do you recommend buying a diffuser at Whole Foods?
You can buy a diffuser anywhere, child. You can buy a diffuser at Target, Whole Foods, wherever.
And someone threw in here that diffusers are supposed to be those that don't have plastic parts. Y'all agree with that? Karen Evans says no plastic parts. Is that a reasonable thing?
They have ones that are plastic versus ones who are not plastic, and I actually really don't know what the difference would be.
I guess you're concerned with some of the chemicals
Leaching the
plastic. Now there are some like plug-in warmers that has like a blotter paper. It's made kind of like a cardboard or paper that you put some drops on and it warms, and so that wouldn't directly warm the plastic. And like I said, there are some rings there are metal rings that you put on light bulbs on the lamp that have, you wouldn't have any plastic, but we definitely don't want to consume anything that's warmed in plastic.
Gotcha.
That's a good point.
And the next to last question, a couple of questions. Why would you not ingest doTERRA?
Me personally, I'm biased in that I really do think that Young Living, I know it's more expensive, but if I was going to put something inside my body, I would go with the like a food grade, highest quality possible, been around for a really long time if I was going to put it inside my body.
Gotcha. And Pat Hyde Lathrop says the essential oils will deteriorate the plastic. So the take-home message is simply essential oils are beneficial. They can be good for practical use. Something like lemongrass or lavender, some of the common ones you listed, are very helpful in terms of using. We can diffuse them at our desk. We can put them in our showers, a topical use. I did put a couple of books in the chat room, and so I'll get the other book from you, and I'll
Okay.
make that available to our listeners. But hey, guys, this has been a great show. I certainly learned a lot. I've got a lot of notes here. And as we close out, all of our listeners, thank you for joining us tonight. Please be sure to like and share this. This is very, very important information and very practical and useful information. So what we try to do is empower you with healthy tips and beneficial things that can help you improve your life, such as not requiring on the need for pharmaceutical drugs and things like that. So simple tips like this can make a big impact on you. So let's give Sosa Digital a round of applause in the chat room, please. And it's been an excellent show. And again, as I said before, I learned a lot. So as we close out, what I'd like to do is invite each and every one of you to keep it fresh, natural, and live. We will see you next Monday. We'll be talking about the gut health and the benefits of the microbiome. So you definitely don't want to miss that show next week. We'll be posting that on our channel. So invite your friends. So until next Monday, we want you to keep it fresh, natural, and live.